Hi guys, how are you doing today? I hope everything is fine with you. Yeah, I'm excited to come with this tutorial. Alright, okay, in 2014 I uploaded a video. It is not actually a tutorial, it's just me walking, and in that video I showed how I made a Milo cup and textured it. So I got some of my viewers asking me to show them talking now how to go about that, and so I'm coming up with this tutorial. So you can see this mug which I have modeled, and I'm going to go through how to model this mug and texture it from scratch, and that is what this tutorial is going to be. It's just going to be a revised tutorial of what I uploaded in 2014. And the bonus to this is that in the old tutorial, or in the old video, I made a mug using splines. So but in this one I'm going to use a cylinder and model it from scratch. So that is going to be an added advantage, but the texturing process is still the same, and I hope you learn something from this, and I hope I don't get too long in this tutorial. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial and work it out. Okay, we are here in the software and we're going to start modeling. This is a model tutorial and product design, so I already have my scene set up. So what I have here is just my camera. I have my camera set up whereby I have one camera. So if you come up to this place and I move out of the camera, you see this is the camera that I have. I have this camera here which I have set up for this. So I think I should just get rid of this. This is slowing my system down, so just for now, so I can be fast. Alright, so I have this camera, then I also have my light setup. These are the three lights. So if you open up this light, you see what I have here. Basically I have a key light which is going to be at this part, and I have a few lights here, and then I have an overhead light which will serve as rim light for my object. So it's just a basic 3-point setup. Then I have my backdrop here, then this is where I'm going to add my product in. So it's not something hard to do, so I'm going to start the tutorial. Alright, so for me to create my curve, I'm going to start with a cylinder. So I'm going to zoom in here, go up with a cylinder. If I bring up a cylinder, I have the cylinder, then I can start setting up the height of the curve. So this is a view that I'm going to use for my render, so I can see the scale of this cylinder that I can use as my curve. So I can use this to just scroll this down to reduce this curve, and I think I should use a height of let me round this up to 70. If it's not too much, let's say 65 or 60. I think I'll go with 60. Then bring the height down to let's bring this to 30. Now the reason why I have 30 is because I know that my axis line is at the middle of this cylinder. I know the total height is 60, so for me to be on the ground floor, I have to come half of it so I can stand on the ground floor. So I'm going to scale this down a little bit so I can have my curve. I think this width should be enough for me, and let's make it 30. No, let's try 20. 20 is too small. Let's try 22. Okay, so I have 22. So the next thing I'm going to do is just convert this into an editable format. Then I can start modeling the cup. It's just a very simple cup, and the purpose of this is just to texture the cup. I want to create a Milo cup, you know, the Milo cup. So that is what I want to do. So I don't really have enough, I don't have too much work on it, so I'm going to convert this. As soon as I convert that, the thing with cylinders is that when you convert cylinder, let me bring this into my product so I can have this. When you convert a cylinder and go to any of this component mode, you try to select, what happens is that these things are not joined together, and that can be a problem. So what I do is I'm going to go to point mode, select all by hitting control or command A to select all these objects, all the points on this object. Then I'll right click, go to optimize. So as soon as I optimize, everything is joined and connected together. So if I go back to this point mode, and I can see this is now one object. So what I want to do now is to start modeling my cup. So I will go to the edge mode, use UL will take me to loop mode. So I want to select the bottom loop. So let me get rid of this backdrop so you can see what I'm trying to do here. So what I'm trying to select is this loop around. So if I hit U, then if you look at this selection, you see L for loop selection. If I hit L the second time, then this gives me this selection. So if I click on it, I have that selection. So what I want to do is I want to scale down the selection. Then I will just go on an empty space, scale this down. So I have this cup having this format. So I think this is fine. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my polygon mode, select this part of this polygon, because I want to do this operation together. So I'm going to hold down shift, select this top, so that the next thing I'm going to be doing will have effect on both ends. So have effect on this top end and also the base. So once I have this selected, I'm going to right click, go to extrude inner. The shortcut is I. So if I click on extrude inner, then what I'm going to do is just click on an empty space and just bring this in a little bit, just to create the edge for that cup. So I think I'm good with this. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I don't need this space, so I'm going to select only this top. So if I hit this top and I use my selection to select this top, then I can go to my extrude mode, D for extrude. And by the way, I have a tutorial on extrude. You can just hit on the notification at the top just to go to the extrude tutorial. I have an in-depth tutorial on extrude, so you can see that. So hit extrude and drag to the left so that you can have this. And at this time, at this point, when you do this, what happens is that you notice that this extrusion is too much, it's bigger than the base of the cup. So what I'm going to do is just change my mode to my scale to, then scale this down so it goes inside the cup. So I might need to select this cup, go to X-ray mode so that I can see what I'm working on. So I will still need to scale this down because you can see the inner part of it. So I feel that the base is too much. I need to bring this down. So if I go to my move tool, since I have this polygon selected, I can just move this down, and this is fine. So I will still scale this so that I have a good proportion of it. So once I'm done with this, and I think I'm good with this base, then I can start adding geometry to some of the points that I need geometries on. So at this point, if I go to my subdivision surface object and I put the cylinder into it, I'm going to have a very bad conversion, which is not what I want. I'm having, can you see the inner part of this cup is not really good, and also if you look at the base, the edge of the cup is now thin. And the reason why I have this is because I have not added some information to the edge. I need to add some supporting edges so that I can keep the base or the thickness of this cup. So for me to temporarily hide this subdivision surface, just hit Q on your keyboard, it hides that. So I'm going to go back to my edge mode, UL for loop selection. I'll select this, hold down shift, select the other part, come to the base, hold down shift, select this part, go inside the cup and also this place, hold down shift, select that part. So I know I have all these edges selected. Then what I want to do now is to bevel these edges. So for me to bevel the edges, all I need to do is just MS on my keyboard, gives me the bevel tool. I also have a tutorial on bevel. If you want an intensive tutorial about it, also click on that notification at the top so you can watch an in-depth of it. So I'm going to click and drag so that I can have the bevel at this part. Then if you hit Q on your keyboard, you notice that subdivision is activated and my cup is back to life and I have the thickness and I'm not having issues. But you can already see I'm no more having issues and it looks fine. So what I want to do now is the handle of the cup. So I'm going to temporarily hide this subdivision again, come back to this. So where I want the cup to be, you can notice this is my, anyways, I can change the orientation of the cup anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some detail here. So I'll go to the point mode, use my KL for loop cut, then I'm going to have a cut here. So I want to have the same on the base, so I'm going to select the symmetry cut. So I'll click where I want this loop cut to be. So I think I want one here, I want another one here. So once I'm done with that, the next thing is to create the handle of my cup. We have so many ways you can create the handle of the cup actually, but I made a tutorial some years back. That was my first tutorial whereby I made this cup using spline. So if you want to learn how that is done, though it didn't have voice, but you could still learn some things, just hit the notification at the top so you can get that. But this time I'm not using spline, I want to use modeling technique to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for I'm going to go to my selection to look for two edges or two polygons that I can select. I have that polygon and also this other polygon that are directly opposite one another or just on top of one another. So I'm going to select both of them. Then what I'm going to do is to extrude them out. So if I use D for extrude these cups this out. So this is going to be my handle. So the reason why I have this extrusion is so that I can know where I'm joining these two. Alright, so I can go to my scale tool and scale this so that I can have a uniform. Then I can come back to only one of these, then I can start working my way around until I get to this part. So I will start from the top. So I'll select this top, then extrude. So what I'll be doing is extruding and rotating. You get that? So I'll extrude, scale the part, then rotate the object, then move in place so that I can have the cup rotated. So I'll go back to extrude again, extrude that up, rotate this, move this down. So I may need to still bring this back up. So I'm trying to create the handle, extrude these out, rotate this. You need to follow the flow of that, then move this sideways. Notice my movement is I'm using two axes so that I don't shift to this side. You can see this, we can solve this later on. So I want to just get the object in place before I do that. So I'm going to do this, extrude, move this in place, scale this. Might need to see very well, so I'll scale this in. So possibly I will scale this holding down shift, scale this, oh sorry, start with this, then hold down shift so that I can scale this so everything becomes this. So I can just bring this in also, possibly bring this inward. So extrude again, bring this here, rotate this so that it move this in place. So basically what you do is just to scale, extrude, and do all sorts of things so that you can have all this. So I'm going to fast forward this and be back. Alright, so I'm here, and what I want to do now is to join these two polygon together. So for me to join these things together, I'm going to have this selected and also this face selected, holding down shift to select this face. So once I have both faces selected, then I can use my bridge tool. That's a good tool. So if I right click, I will go for bridge, then bridge works, just select an edge, go to the other edge where you want it to go. So just make sure the point, this point is also on corresponding point. So once you let go, it bridges them together and you have that. So what I can do now is start going out and shaping this curve. So this looks too large. So I'll go to my edge mode, UL, to select the loop that I want to work on. I even selected that, use scale to scale along the x-axis to reduce this. So UL again, select the loop, then T to scale along that. So I'm going to just continue this and fast forward until everything looks nice. Alright, and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm here. So what you see now is if I hit this, though it's not the best model, just to illustrate that. So if I hit this subdivision surface, you have this cup, and if this is the look you're going for, fine, you can just have the cup But if you feel you want to have a thickness, you want to have a defined edge here, you can also work on that by just selecting this, temporarily hide this subdivision by hitting Q again. Then you can go to the edge you want to work on. So if I use my move to double click on this edge, it will also select that loop and possibly this. Hold down shift, double click, have that loop, then look for. So what I can do here, so I don't, is to have a supporting loop somewhere here. So I use KL, I can add a loop here, but I'm going to have an issue, and the issue is that if you see, I should have, okay, that's really clean, okay, so that's fine. And if you come to this place, I can click here so that I have, you can already see what happens to that. So what is happening is that it's trying to create a curve between this edge and this top here. So that's why you're having this curve being defined here. But by the time I create this supporting edge, it squishes that curve and try to create a curve between this edge and this other edge. So that is actually used for defining whatever, defining your geometry. So I think I would leave it like this. I'm done with the modeling, and we could just go to the base, and for me to see the base I could just hide my lights so I can see the base. So depending on whatever you want, if you want it to have a flat base curve, fine, go with that. But what I want to do is I want to select this loop here, then extrude inner a little bit, then move it up just to create that, then extrude inner again. So this becomes the standing edge of that cup. So if I'm to take this up, you see what I have. You have this kind of effect to the cup. So I have that just to show. So if you look at this, my view here, this is what I have, and I do not want this handle facing the cup. So what I'm going to do is select this subdivision surface, go to model mode, then rotate the whole model until I see the cup the way I want it to look. So let's assume I want the cup to be like this. So I have that. So I think that is it for the modeling, and the next thing is to texture this object. So texturing this object is kind of simple, considering the model that we're looking for, considering the kind of cup we're going to create. We are trying to create a Milo cup whereby the whole texture is green. You just have a portion of it having the logo for the Milo. So that is a very simple thing to do. It's not really an issue, shouldn't be an issue for us. So I'm going to, since I'm now in texturing mode, so what I'm going to do is bring up my lights and my backdrop. Then you already see my light is having interaction. So let me hide this, so I don't want to see that camera, because I know this is the camera I'm going to use. So if I come to this texture, I can just create a new texture, a new material, add the material to the cup. So I have this, I have the white material. So if I click here and I go to interactive render, it's going to have the render. So what I have already is, I'm having my physical render, and the physical render is set to progressive, and every other value is 2 just for fast render purpose. Then by the time I want to do a final render, we're going to up that. Then for my global illumination, this is what I usually use when I'm using progressive for test render. in my scene. I use QMC in my primary and my secondary bounce, and that's pretty much everything I do. Then I leave everything as is. So I have this. So let's paint this cup. And I have a color that I want to paint the cup. So once I come here, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring this cup to the side. I'm going to bring the texture to the side so I can, sorry about that. So I'm going to bring this texture to this side so I can sample that to this side of my screen. So if I go to this material, so I'm already in my material editor here. So what I'm going to do is I can copy this out so I can have one. Let's see this. I'll click on this swatch, this eyedropper to sample a color. So I'm going to go to the color that I want to sample, click on it, then that comes up here. You can see that that is the color we have for our cup. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to the reflectance, remove the reflectance that I have before, then add a new one, add a Beckman or GGX. I can add a GGX reflectance, then go to the Fresnel, make it dielectric, and it's going to be reflective, and we may not see any reflections now until we do some couple of things. So let me add a little bit of roughness to it, so we have this going. So that's just everything I'm going to do for the normal cup here. And there's something I didn't add, so I'm going to add a sky object. So the sky object is going to be in our lighting setup. Okay, so I'm going to create a new material, double click here to have a new material set, add it to the sky object. Then I'm going to load up some sky material. So I'll go to my content browser, search for HDRI, then maybe I will go with this. No, HDRI. I don't want this. I'm looking for a sky HDRI, so I can. Okay, so I think I will go with this. So I will just drag this out here, and I can close this. So this HDRI will be added to the sky object. As soon as I do that, you are going to see an interaction on the edge. So you can already see. I don't know if you can see that, an interaction on the edge of this cup based on the HDRI that I've added. So what we can do is to select this HDRI and go down to illumination. Then I would want to, sorry about this, okay, up this value here to say 50. Alright, so I think that is okay for now. Then I may need to want to get closer to the subject. So let me temporarily bring this here. Then here I'm going to go to my camera and select the cup, move closer to the camera, to the cup. So I have the effect also here. It's just to have that cup pronounced. So I can bring the protection tab back. Then I can go out of this camera here. So the next thing is for me to add the logo. So what I can do to add the logo is to, now the first thing you need to know is that the logo you are bringing should be a PNG logo that has a background. And once that is established, the next thing is just to highlight the parts where you want the logo to be. So I'll go to the cylinder, go to polygon mode possibly. So because I don't want I don't want the logo to be stretched from this top to this base. I just want it somewhere at the middle. I'm going to subdivide this geometry. So I'll go to my point mode, use KL for loop cut. So I want the geometry to be somewhere here. So the logo is going to be somewhere. So I'll go back to my polygon mode, use my selection to select the part where I want this to be. So I need to make sure the part is also facing me. So I think it is. So once I have this part facing me, I will drag the texture on that part. Then this is what I'm going to have. So the reason why I'm having this information, this cup changing to this gray, is because I have this added to this subdivision. So if I bring it under and bring it down here, then that fixes that problem. So at this point we are having this, and that is not what we want. So what I want to do now is to, instead of me even using this texture, I can just delete this, duplicate this, since I've added reflectance to this. So what I'm just going to do is select it, go to the color mode, change the color to white, so I can have a white color. Then if I drag this on this question mark, so we are back to the same issue. The only difference is just that this now has the reflectance. I don't have to go and change reflectance anymore. So I will click on this, bring it out. Then in our color channel, I need to add the Milo logo here. So I think I have the logo here. Sorry about my working actually. So I don't know if we should use this logo or we should use this one. So I don't know. I'm going to try and use this first, then use this and see which would go. So I will just, all I'm just going to do is just duplicate, right? So I am going to drag the first one here into our texture channel. As soon as we do that, it's going to tell us, do we want to create a copy? I don't want to create a copy, so I have that. Now you are going to see the logo showing here. I'm going to show you how to solve that. Now, this is how you solve that problem. You go to, I can just temporarily minimize this. You go to this section where you want to have the logo. You right click on the what you're going to do is right click on the texture here. Once you right click, you're going to click on fit to region or fit to object. So what I'm going to do is fit to region. So it's going to allow me create a region where I want it to be. So I'm going to click and drag over this portion. Then it fits this logo. Then I can now go and work my way and start reducing that. So once I have this, I come to this property and start, let me reduce this and start reducing this value. So let's try 0.2, 0.2, 1.2. Think if we take off the tiling, so we don't have any tile, I think 1.2 is still too big. Let's try 1.4, 1.4. So we can use this and move it in place so that you have the whole logo in the frame. So at this point, what you will see is that you will think, why am I having this black? And the reason why we're having this black is because we need to add the same logo into this same logo that we added in this color channel. We need to also add it into our alpha channel. So I'm going to activate the alpha channel, then go to the color channel, copy this channel, then go to the alpha, paste it here. So as soon as we do that, it's going to cut off that black point, and we're going to have the logo and this color. So pretty much that's just how I did that. Then what you can do is if I duplicate this object, I can try out the second logo by dragging the second logo here. So that comes, then I can copy this and take it back. Copy channel, go to the alpha, it has to be the same object, paste. Then that I need to drag this and add it on this object. So this is the other logo. I think this is better. So I can just bring this down on the Y. Maybe I can bring this up a bit. Feel it's too small. 2. Let's try 1 full size and position this correctly. I think this should be fine, and once this is set we will. Okay, and I think this is too, so I need to add one more polygon here. So I'll select this, then hold down shift and select one more polygon added, then go to my selection, set selection, so that's added. Then I can now go back into this point and start shifting the geometry. Start shifting this object until I'm fine. So I think this, it's better, and we have that cut. So for me to do my final render, I can just from here take off this. I don't need this interactive render anymore. So I can go to my render setting, global illumination, change it to radiance and light mapping, bring this up 2.2. Then here I will just bring this to 2. That's just everything I'm going to do here. Then I will come to the physical, change it from progressive to adaptive, then this to automatic. Then I will reduce this shading error threshold to somewhat 5 or 7 for my final render. Then since I don't have subsurface, I'm going to zero that out. Then my blurriness, I'm going to up this to 4. Shadow is fine, everything is fine. Then I will go to my save or my output, sorry. I'm going to have this, then 300 dpi. Then I'll do a final render. Then I'm going to pause this and come back. Once I come back, I'm going to show you what I have. Alright, just stick around with me. Hold on. Alright, so you can see where I am. So this is what happened was this was the first render and was too not really cool. So what I did was to go out, create a texture for the drop down and up my render setting for me to have this. So that's just pretty much what I did, and you can see what we have here. So this is the output of that. So if you have learned something new, I would really appreciate if you drop me a comment, tell me what you've learned from here, and also compare this with the previous one that I told you about, and tell me which one you feel is better. And I want to say thank you for sticking around to the end, and do have a wonderful day. God bless you. Bye.